Avoid dialysis, 8 common veggies destroying your kidneys. Let me ask you something. How many mornings do you wake up feeling unusually tired with puffy eyes, a little back stiffness, or even a bit of foam in your urine? Most people over 55 brush these off as normal signs of aging. I hear it every day. They think it is just part of getting older. But after working with thousands of kidney patients, I can tell you there is often something deeper happening. Those morning symptoms are not always random. They can be early signals that creatinine is creeping up, that your GFR is slowly slipping, and that your kidneys are under quiet stress while toxins build up overnight. These changes often happen so gradually that people do not notice until the numbers are already worse than expected. I am Dr. Mattheus from Kidney Health 365. And here is one mistake I see far too often. Many patients are told to drink more water, cut back on salt, or avoid processed foods. But very few are warned that certain everyday vegetables can place surprising pressure on weakened kidneys, especially in the morning when your filtration rate is naturally at its lowest. No one explains how the wrong choice of vegetables can turn a healthy meal into a hidden problem. A research group in the Midwest followed more than 2,000 adults over 60 and found that those who accidentally exceeded their daily mineral load from high potassium and high oxalate vegetables were far more likely to show temporary drops in GFR. Some even saw increases in creatinine of 0.3 to 0.4 milligrams per deciliter during high-intake weeks. This is not about fear. It is about awareness. If these early signs are ignored, kidney stress can quietly grow for years. But the hopeful part is that small, simple changes made in the morning can help you take back control. And the first habit takes less than 2 minutes, but can change how your kidneys handle toxins for the rest of the day. Now, let us talk about why vegetables can become dangerous for CKD. When most people hear the word vegetables, they immediately think safe, clean, and kidney-friendly. And for healthy kidneys, that is usually true. But once kidney function starts to decline, even the most nutritious vegetables can become surprisingly difficult for your body to handle. The issue is not the vegetable itself, but the minerals inside it. Potassium, oxalates, and phosphorus are all essential nutrients, yet they behave very differently when your kidneys can no longer filter at full strength. Here is the part most people never hear. With CKD, especially stages 3 to 5, your body cannot clear excess potassium as quickly. And when levels rise too high, it can affect your heart and muscles. That is why the National Kidney Foundation lists high potassium vegetables as foods to manage carefully, especially for anyone with reduced filtration. You can find that guidance directly at kidney.org. Oxalates are another problem. They bind with calcium in your urine and can form crystals when they build up in large amounts. Research published in BMC Nephrology reported a case where high oxalate intake contributed to sudden kidney stress in a patient with early kidney vulnerability. The third issue is concentration. Some vegetables become much more potent when juiced, blended, baked, or dried. What looks like one serving can suddenly behave like 4 or 5. So when people ask me why a simple salad or a healthy smoothie made their creatinine rise, this is usually the reason. It is not about fear. It is about matching the food to the stage of kidney function. With that foundation in place, let us walk through the 8 vegetables that carry the most hidden risk for CKD and why they matter. Artichoke is one of those vegetables that sounds like a perfect choice for healthy living. Many people love it for digestion, liver support, and antioxidant strength, and those benefits are real. Artichokes contain fiber and plant compounds that help your liver process waste more efficiently, something many older adults appreciate as metabolism slows with age. But here is what most people do not realize. Artichokes are also extremely rich in potassium. 1 cup of cooked artichoke hearts can contain around 480 milligrams of potassium, nearly the same as a medium banana. For healthy kidneys, that is no problem. For kidneys in stages 3 to 5, it can be more than the body can safely handle. According to the National Kidney Foundation, foods above 200 milligrams per serving are considered high potassium and require careful management, especially when filtration is reduced. You can find more information at kidney.org. The risk shows up when potassium builds up faster than your kidneys can clear it. When that happens, muscles, nerves, and even your heart can be affected. That is why artichokes, despite their benefits, become a risky choice for anyone with reduced GFR or a history of elevated potassium. If you still want to enjoy artichoke's portion, control is the key. For someone in stage 3, an occasional 1/4 cup of cooked artichoke hearts may fit into a meal, especially if they are boiled rather than steamed. Boiling can help reduce some mineral content. Canned artichokes should always be rinsed thoroughly to remove extra sodium, and they should never be the main part of the plate, just a small flavor accent. If you enjoy cooking, try using tiny amounts of artichoke in a Mediterranean-style salad with plenty of low-potassium vegetables like lettuce or cucumbers. Another variation is adding a spoonful of chopped artichoke into a grilled chicken or fish dish for flavor without the heavy mineral load. A few precautions. Anyone in stage 4 to 5 CKD or anyone with recent lab results showing elevated potassium should avoid artichokes unless their care team gives specific guidance. And if you take medications that affect potassium levels like certain blood pressure drugs, it is even more important to be mindful. Before we move on, leave a quick comment. If you have never eaten artichoke type 0, if you have tried it before type 1, it helps us understand your experience. Coming up next is a vegetable that looks harmless but can deliver a surprising mix of oxalates and potassium when prepared the wrong way. Let us take a closer look. Celery is one of those vegetables people often associate with purity and cleansing. Many older adults reach for it because it feels light, hydrating, and gentle on the stomach. And in its whole form, celery does provide hydration and fiber that can support digestion. The reason celery became so trendy is its mix of water, antioxidants, and natural electrolytes. In normal amounts, these can help you feel refreshed and support healthy digestion. Celery contains vitamin K, vitamin C, and phytonutrients that help fight oxidative stress in the body. For healthy kidneys, those properties can be a nice addition to a balanced diet. But here's the part most people never hear. Celery is one of the highest oxalate vegetables commonly eaten. And when you juice it, those oxalates become intensely concentrated. A typical juice uses 4 to 5 stalks, pushing oxalate levels into a range that can contribute to calcium oxalate stone formation. According to the National Kidney Foundation, around 80% of kidney stones are calcium oxalate stones, and high oxalate intake is a major factor. You can read more at kidney.org. Celery is also moderately high in potassium, which becomes a more serious concern for people in stage 3 to 5 CKD when the kidneys struggle to regulate that mineral. Because of this combination, celery juice can overwhelm vulnerable kidneys. Too much potassium can affect your heart rhythm. Too many oxalates can bind with calcium and form sharp crystals that collect inside the kidneys. This is why celery juice, though popular, is not kidney-friendly for anyone with reduced kidney function. If you enjoy celery, the safest way is its whole form. 1 to 2 stalks in a salad or with hummus is generally easier for the body to handle. Always avoid juicing it and never drink concentrated shots or cleanse-style portions. Choose crisp light green stalks and store them wrapped in foil to keep them fresh longer. If you want variety, try swapping celery juice for cucumber mint water. It is refreshing and low in minerals. Another option is adding a small amount of chopped celery to chicken or tuna salad so you still get crunch without overload. Anyone with a history of kidney stones, elevated potassium, or stage 4 to 5 CKD should be especially careful, as even whole celery may need to be limited based on labs and medical advice. Let me know in the comments if you have never tried celery juice type 0. If you have had it before type 1. I'm always curious how many people follow the trends. Next, we are moving toward a vegetable that looks innocent on the outside, but carries its own hidden risk once it hits the frying pan or baking dish. Let us take a look. Eggplant is one of those vegetables people love because it feels light, versatile, and perfect for roasting or grilling. A lot of older adults think of eggplant as a safe comfort food. And in moderation, it does bring fiber and antioxidants that support overall digestion and help reduce inflammation in the body. Eggplant contains compounds like niacin, a potent antioxidant found in the purple skin, which may help protect cells from oxidative stress. It is also naturally low in calories, making it appealing for anyone watching their weight or blood sugar. For healthy kidneys, these benefits make eggplant a reasonable choice. But for anyone living with chronic kidney disease, there is a side of eggplant most people never hear about. Eggplant carries a dual burden of potassium and oxalates. 1 cup of cooked eggplant can hold over 450 mg of potassium, placing it firmly in the high potassium category. And for someone in stage 3 to 5 CKD, that amount becomes difficult for the kidneys to regulate. Eggplant also contains oxalates, and the portion sizes people typically eat can easily exceed the safe daily range for anyone with a history of calcium oxalate stones. These oxalates can bind with calcium and form sharp crystals that irritate and block the kidneys. If you enjoy eggplant, the safest approach is portion control. A half-cup serving boiled first to reduce potassium and then finished in the oven, or a skillet is usually easier for the kidneys to handle. Avoid fried eggplant dishes as they absorb oil heavily and become harder to digest. For variations, try mixing small amounts of eggplant with lower potassium vegetables such as zucchini or bell peppers. This keeps the flavor while lowering mineral concentration. If you have had kidney stones before or your potassium levels tend to run high, you may need to limit eggplant further. Let me know in the comments. If you have eaten eggplant this month, type 1. If not, type 0. Up next is a leafy green with a nutrient load so intense that even a small serving can overwhelm vulnerable kidneys. Swiss chard is often praised as a super green. It looks vibrant, tastes earthy, and is packed with vitamins A and K, magnesium, and antioxidants. For healthy adults, it can be a powerhouse for immune support and bone health. But the same nutrients that benefit healthy kidneys can be overwhelming for anyone with CKD. Swiss chard contains some of the highest mineral concentrations of any leafy green. 1 cooked cup can deliver close to 960 mg of potassium high sodium from natural salts in the plant, and between 650 to 900 mg of oxalate. For a kidney already working at reduced capacity, that is simply too much. Potassium overload can affect heart rhythm. Sodium raises blood pressure and fluid retention. Oxalates bind with calcium to form crystals that contribute to kidney stones. When all three show up together in the same vegetable, the kidneys face a heavy workload they cannot manage safely. If you enjoy leafy greens, switching to safer alternatives can make a huge difference. Romaine lettuce, kale, and cabbage offer similar nutrients with far lower potassium and oxalates. These are much more kidney-friendly and easier for your body to handle day to day. Because Swiss chard is so concentrated, even boiling does not reduce the mineral load enough to make it a regular option for CKD. It is one of the few vegetables that renal dietitians often recommend avoiding entirely for anyone in stage 3 to 5 or with a history of stones. If you are looking for variety, try lightly sauteing kale with garlic or using cabbage in soups for a gentle, nutrient-rich option. Next, let us talk about a vegetable that seems harmless but hides one of the highest oxalate levels found in produce. Rhubarb is one of those foods people associate with pies, jams, and springtime desserts. It feels nostalgic, natural, and wholesome. And when we look purely at its vitamins and fiber, rhubarb does have nutrition to offer. But when it comes to kidney health, rhubarb carries a major risk that most people never hear about. Rhubarb contains extremely high levels of oxalates, far higher than spinach or beets. Just half a cup can contain 500 to 1,000 mg of oxalates. For comparison, many kidney stone guidelines recommend staying under 50 mg per day if you are prone to calcium oxalate stones. These oxalates can bind tightly with calcium in your urine and turn into sharp crystals that irritate and damage kidney tissue. For people with reduced kidney function, this concentrated load can overwhelm the system quickly. There have even been case reports of acute kidney stress after eating too much rhubarb daily for several weeks. While rare, it shows just how potent this vegetable can be when consumed in concentrated amounts. If you still want to enjoy rhubarb occasionally, preparation matters. Boiling it in plenty of water and discarding the water afterward can reduce soluble oxalates significantly. Pairing rhubarb with calcium-rich foods like yogurt can also help bind oxalates in the gut, reducing absorption. But even with these techniques, rhubarb should remain an occasional treat, only for people with healthy potassium levels and no history of stones. Safer alternatives like strawberries, apples, or blueberries can give you the same sweet, tart flavor profile without the oxalate burden. Next, we will look at a comforting vegetable many families enjoy during holiday seasons, but one that hides surprisingly high potassium levels depending on how it is prepared. Winter squash feels like comfort food. It is warm, creamy, and shows up on nearly every holiday table. Many seniors believe squash is a safe, gentle vegetable, especially because it is naturally sweet and full of beta-carotene, which supports vision and immune health. And for healthy kidneys, squash can be a nutritious choice. But for anyone living with CKD, the picture changes quickly. Both acorn and butternut squash carry a surprising potassium load. 1 cup of cooked butternut squash contains around 580 mg of potassium, already high. But acorn squash is even more intense with nearly 900 mg per cup. That single serving can take up half or more of the daily 2000 mg potassium limit many stage 4 and 5 CKD patients must follow. This amount can silently push potassium levels above the safe zone, especially if combined with other high potassium foods in the same meal. And unlike fruits where portions are naturally controlled, squash is often served in large comfort-sized helpings, making accidental overload extremely common. If you enjoy squash, there are safer strategies. Spaghetti squash and zucchini offer similar textures with a fraction of the potassium. When choosing winter squash, keep servings to a half cup and avoid mashing or pureeing, which makes it easier to eat too much without noticing. For flavor variations, try roasting small cubes of acorn squash mixed with low potassium vegetables like bell peppers to dilute the overall load. Or replace half the squash with cauliflower and soups for a much lighter potassium footprint. If your potassium trends high on labs, you may need to treat butternut and acorn squash as occasional foods rather than weekly staples. Tell me in the comments, have you eaten squash this week? Type 1 for yes, 0 for no. Up next is a root vegetable that many people think of as a healthier alternative to potatoes, but its mineral profile tells a different story. Rutabaga is often marketed as a lighter, lower-carb replacement for potatoes. It is earthy, creamy when mashed and considered a smart swap for blood sugar control. For people without kidney issues, rutabaga can fit into a balanced diet thanks to its fiber and vitamin C. But for CKD, rutabaga sits in a tricky zone. 1 cup of cooked rutabaga contains more than 550 mg of potassium, placing it firmly in the high potassium category. For anyone with stage 3 to 5 CKD, that amount alone can strain kidneys already working at reduced capacity. Beyond potassium, rutabaga also carries 60 to 80 mg of oxalates per cup. This is significant for anyone with a history of calcium oxalate stones or those needing to limit oxalate intake below 50 mg per day. Combined potassium overload and oxalate buildup create a two-sided threat that makes rutabaga challenging for vulnerable kidneys. If you enjoy rutabaga, preparation can help. The double boiling method, peeling, slicing, boiling in a large pot, draining and boiling again, can reduce potassium by up to 50%. Pairing rutabaga with calcium-rich foods like yogurt or milk can also help bind oxalates in the gut. For variations, try blending a small amount of rutabaga with cauliflower mash to maintain flavor while reducing both potassium and oxalate content significantly. If you are in advanced CKD stages or have recurring kidney stones, rutabaga is often better limited or avoided to reduce risk. Next, we move to the most surprising vegetable on the list, one widely praised as a superfood, but carrying hidden risks when kidney function declines. Sweet potatoes have a health halo. You see them in wellness magazines, diabetic meal plans, and healthy holiday spreads. They are rich in fiber, vitamin A, and antioxidants. Many older adults genuinely believe sweet potatoes are one of the safest choices they can make. But when kidney function declines, the numbers tell another story. A single cup of baked sweet potato contains 540 to 570 mg of potassium, nearly a third of the recommended daily limit for many stage 4 and 5 CKD patients. That same serving also brings close to 100 mg of phosphorus and 50 to 60 mg of oxalates, a triple mineral load that can be difficult for the kidneys to handle. The greatest danger, however, comes from dried sweet potatoes. Drying concentrates potassium dramatically to nearly 1,000 mg per 100 g. Case reports have documented life-threatening potassium spikes in CKD patients after consuming dried sweet potatoes regularly. These potassium surges can disrupt heart rhythm and require emergency treatment. If you want to include sweet potatoes safely, the double boil method is essential. Peel completely cut into thin slices, soak for several hours, then boil twice in fresh water. This technique can reduce potassium by 50 to 75%. Even with this method, sweet potatoes should remain an occasional choice, not a weekly staple for anyone in moderate to advanced CKD. For variations, mix a small portion of sweet potato with cauliflower mash to dramatically reduce potassium and maintain flavor. If sweet potatoes are part of your regular meals, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Coming up next, let's transition into something every viewer needs to know. There are important cautions and warnings that apply to all 8 vegetables we have covered so far. And now that we have walked through all 8 vegetables and how they impact the kidneys in different ways, it is time for one of the most important parts of this video. Before you change anything in your diet, there are key cautions and warnings that every CKD patient should understand. These can help you stay safe, avoid accidental overload, and make smarter choices with confidence. Before you make any changes to your diet, I want to slow things down for a moment. Because the truth is, even the healthiest foods on today's list can become risky when kidney function drops. And the last thing I want is for someone to walk away from this video feeling afraid or confused. My goal is safety, clarity, and confidence. The first thing to remember is that kidney disease is not one single condition. A vegetable that works for someone in stage 2 may overload someone in stage 4. Potassium oxalates, sodium, and phosphorus are not good or bad. They're simply minerals your kidneys must regulate. When kidney function falls, the margin for error gets smaller, and even small portions can push your labs in the wrong direction. That is why serving size matters just as much as the vegetable itself. Another major caution is about preparation. Many vegetables become dramatically safer when boiled instead of roasted, juiced, or baked. Boiling can reduce potassium by 30 to 70% depending on the food source. For example, research from the National Library of Medicine shows double boiling can significantly lower soluble potassium levels in root vegetables. But juicing removes fiber and concentrates minerals in ways that can overwhelm weakened kidneys quickly. Eating the whole vegetable is almost always safer than drinking it. If you also have a history of kidney stones, particularly calcium oxalate stones, your risk factors are different from someone without stones. High oxalate vegetables like rhubarb, Swiss chard, and celery juice may require stricter limits even in earlier CKD stages. Always look at oxalate levels and pair high oxalate foods with calcium-rich foods to reduce absorption. Medication interactions are another area where caution is essential. Blood pressure drugs, diuretics, and potassium-sparing medications can all influence potassium levels. This means your vegetable intake and your prescriptions must work together, not against each other. Most importantly, every dietary decision should be guided by your lab values. Potassium, phosphorus, calcium, creatinine, and egg fur tell the real story. What works for your neighbor may not work for you. This video is for education only and is not a replacement for personalized medical advice. Now that you understand the hidden risks and how to navigate them safely, let me show you how to stay connected and continue learning. Up next here is how you can subscribe and move on to the next essential kidney health video that can help protect your GFR starting today. As we wrap up today's video, let me leave you with the core message in the simplest way possible. We talked about 8 everyday vegetables that seem harmless, but can become unexpectedly risky when your kidneys are no longer filtering at full strength. We explored how potassium, oxalates, sodium, and even preparation methods can make the difference between a stable creatinine level and one that quietly climbs. And most importantly, we learned that understanding your body, your labs, and your stage of CKD empowers you to make choices that truly protect your kidney health. And here's why acting now matters. Kidney problems rarely show loud warning signs in the beginning. They creep in quietly. By the time symptoms like swelling fatigue or rising blood pressure appear, damage may already be further along than you think. That's why small decisions, even something as simple as adjusting how you prepare a vegetable, can shape your long-term kidney strength. Starting today gives you the best chance to stay ahead of the curve. But I want you to feel encouraged, not overwhelmed. You don't need perfection. You just need awareness and consistency. Even one positive change this week, like swapping a high-potassium vegetable for a safer option or trying the boiling method instead of juicing, can make a meaningful difference over time. Your kidneys respond to steady, thoughtful care, and you absolutely have the power to support them. If you're ready to take the next small step, start by reviewing your favorite vegetables and checking how they fit with your latest lab results. Or try preparing one of them differently this week to lighten the load on your kidneys. Tiny choices add up. And remember, everything we covered today is for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for medical advice. Always talk with your doctor or renal dietitian before making major changes, especially if you're in stage 3, 4, or 5 CKD or managing high potassium levels. If this video helped you, I invite you to subscribe to Kidney Health 365 and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. And if you want to continue building your kidney-safe meal plan, don't miss the next video. Stop high creatinine top 10 low potassium foods to protect your kidneys and avoid dialysis. It's packed with practical, senior-friendly guidance you can use right away. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Stay informed, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next video.